Welcome back, everybody. So this may be the conclusion to Arc of the Conclave's run. If he wins this one, that'll be the end of the event. So this Mono Shadow deck looking pretty good. We'll see if we can get y'all a deck list. If I haven't done a deck tech at the very beginning of this series, I think I'm going to try to do a deck tech at the beginning of the series. But Arc of the Conclave looking good with a Sabotage here. An excellent opener. Undeaf going to lose a Sabotage of his own. But Blood Beetle already up and going on the field. We'll see if Undeaf will get something that can block this. So Suffocate just going to come down and end this Blood Beetle, pulling a Humbug. Humbug not that great of a draw. Sabotage coming down, pulling Forge Wolf. Sabotage going to rip a card out of Undeaf's hand. We'll see what Conclave wants to take here. Going to take that Subvert. Subvert, an excellent card in this matchup, as it would likely at some point end up taking a Sleepless Night. Sleepless Night likely going to be key, as these players will both be fighting for card advantage as they are playing a mirror. So Pilfer going to draw a card off the top of Conclave's deck and bring with it an Alluring Ember. And Power Screw coming in for Conclave. Undeaf having a few options here with that third Shadow Sigil, opening up some plays that Conclave cannot make, at least. Stranger's Mark going to go ahead and turn Humbug into a Stranger, bringing with it a Sand Warrior. Scheme and Scheme pulling a Midnight Gale. A very good pull here, as that will start creating a larger life total deficit. If Arc can't find a mana here soon, that Midnight Gale can run away with this game. So coming across here for 2, going to annihilate the Sand Warrior and only finding a Bladekin Apprentice, unfortunately. And Seek Power does find that second Shadow Sigil, and it may be in time, as Midnight Gale will not yet have Lifesteal. But 6 power worth of flyer is going to come across unanswered this turn. Arc of the Conclave losing footing very quickly, especially with Suffocate. Oh, Suffocate does opt to take down that Bladekin Apprentice. I'm not sure why you would have chose Bladekin Apprentice over this Sanctuary Priestess. Sanctuary Priestess is going to possibly get Arc back into this game. We will see. Torn of Spiders, not the best draw here, but Extract going to come down and get a Foothills Alpha. That will help lock up the ground for Arc of the Conclave, but unfortunately not going to gain any life. Devour canceling that lifesteal. And a Shadow Sigil going to be left on top off of that Extract, I believe. And may... Actually, it could go to the bottom, as Arc may be looking to unload some Torn of Spiders in the following turns, just to try to create some kind of action. So Subvert going to rip a Torn of Spiders out of Arc of the Conclave's hand and put it into Undeaf's hand. Coming across 4-2, Arc of the Conclave slowly watching this game slip away from him. His hand just does not do anything, as Torn of Spiders only makes 1 spider, maybe, if that many. And it does make 1 spider, but unfortunately these flyers still going unanswered. Conclave in trouble here, looking like his run may be coming to an end here. Subvert going to come and draw Sleepless Nights, and that's not too good of a pickup here, as neither player is very close to 8. So 2 damage going to come through the air onto Conclave's face, bringing Conclave down to 13. A 13-point deficit. Undef sitting with twice as many life points as Arc of the Conclave. So 13 to 26 is going to be the total here, and Finest Hour just does not seem good enough here. Torna Spider is going to bring with it 2 creatures. Going to bring with it 1 spider and 1 deadly flyer. So the deadly flyer can actually stem a little bit of this bleeding in the sky. But unfortunately, I'm not quite sure that's going to be good enough. This 1/1 does buy a lot of time on the ground, as it will help hold back this 3/3 and this 4/3, and maybe disincentivize Undef from attacking. Extract going to shut down the flying deadly unit, as I'm sure that Undef does see that there is a potential victory here in the air. And if this Cult Aspirant keeps growing, it does have Overwhelm, so we'll see. Subvert going to be the draw, an excellent draw here for Arc of the Conclave, as that does give some cards back to Arc. Getting it extracted, wow, an excellent pull here from that Subvert. Fevered Scout going to come across for 4 damage. We'll see how Undef wants to block. Maybe a chump block, maybe a double block, maybe just a straight up trade for the back alley bouncer. But instead going to block with Xenan Destroyer, and what this does is it does gain life so that Cult Aspirant will grow again. So Undef does have to throw away 2 units for that, but does get a little bit of value back via making Cult Aspirant a 4/4. And that is relevant, as Cult Aspirant does have Overwhelm, and a lot of what Arc of the Conclave is trying to do is block with his 1/1s. So that 2/2 flyer is going to be taken out by Devouring Shadow. So 2 damage going to again come across through the air from Arc of the Conclave, but luckily a Witching Hour potentially available here to bring back this game for Arc. So extract. Oh wow, a Combray Healer. Arc of the Conclave rolling high here. Going to gain 3 life and make a 2/5, and that extract going to shut off that back alley bouncer. We'll likely see Devouring Shadow come down next turn on this 4/4, or we will see Witching Hour just come down. And Witching Hour does come with a flyer and a killer unit, so killer going to be able to take down some of these flyers. I really did think that Conclave wasn't going to be able to turn this game around, but here he is proving me wrong. Still, this 2 damage coming through the sky. Gonna bring Arc of the Conclave down to 13. It does feel like Arc of the Conclave was at 13 not too long ago. But there is a Lifesteal Pale Rider that could come off of this Witching Hour. We could see instead Devour come down first, and yeah, Devour will reduce the cost of Witching Hour, so regardless of whether or not Arc of the Conclave does draw a power, Witching Hour will be castable here. So Witching Hour could be castable if Var's Favor wants to come down. Yeah, and it does, and Arc of the Conclave turning this game around very quickly, shutting down this Alluring Ember. Going back up to 16 already. Witching Hour going to make a Sand Warrior and 4 Pale Riders. Arc of the Conclave going to have to sacrifice a single unit to make the 4th Pale Rider, I believe. Or does it not let... It looks like it doesn't even let Arc of the Conclave choose to sacrifice a unit to make room for that 4th Pale Rider, which is relevant because I believe that was the Lifesteal Pale Rider. Fortunately, Conclave being at a very healthy life total at 17, much healthier than he was just a few turns ago. So Annihilate, for some reason, going to come down on the 4/4 with flying, even though there's only 1 flyer left. Maybe Undef still feels like the only way that he can get through is the air. But I do not think that's going to be good enough, as Conclave is ready to answer that with his Var's Favor and a Devouring Shadow still in hand to deal with anything large that Undef wants to drop. Now you have to remember that Undef does have an 8 CMC spell in his hand that he did take from Arc, so that's going to be stranded in his hand until 8 mana. Var's Favor going to shut down one of the Deadly Spiders. And we'll see how Conclave wants to play this. Devouring Shadow potentially could come down. We'll see what he wants to shut off. Does decide to shut off that Sand Warrior and Cumber Emissary, letting Arc play that last power out of his hand. An Alpha Strike coming down, leaving back the 4/4 deadly unit though. See how Undef wants to block this, but it does feel like Undef is falling very quickly behind. So these cards going to trade away for the spiders, and this two powered unit going to be blocked by the 06. Undef does get a free block here, the 2/4 on the 2/2. Longhorn Sergeant going to shut off this Praxis Stranger. A trade here, one spider for 1/3/3. And Arc may be just making room in case he draws another Midnight Ride. Or Witching Hour. I don't know why I called it Midnight Ride. Maybe the event was called like the Midnight Riders or something like that. And the Pale Riders were featured in that as avatars in the game. Pretty interesting stuff. So Undef going to get his board rearranged here. 5 units on board. Both boards being simplified just a little bit. Unfortunately, Conclave's opponent sitting pretty healthy at 23 and with a potential draw 4 in hand. Arc of the Conclave is in trouble, so yeah. So a draw 4 coming in and an 8 powered unit, or an 8 CMC unit. So a random weapon being played onto both Longhorn Sergeant and Caleb. So Caleb gets a Hellfire Rifle, and Longhorn Sergeant gets a Lethrai Falchion. And Lethrai Falchion, a good pickup here, as it will keep Undef nice and healthy. Conclave again looking like he's in trouble, unfortunately, as that as the draw 4 card. Let me see what the name is. Oh, I don't actually know what the name of the card is. I didn't see. But yeah, drawing 4 there and getting an 8 cost unit is going to help stabilize the board here. So with no way of getting in extra damage, Arc in a little bit of trouble now. The opponent sitting pretty on 4 cards. Scheme going to be pretty good pickup, as now it can get any of the top 4 units. That should be, it's very likely that Conclave's opponent finds something good off of this scheme. 23-17 going to be the life total count. The board definitely favoring Undef at this point. So unfortunately, this Devouring Shadow going to shut down that 4/4 Deadly Pale Rider. Looking for another Witching Hour Arc of the Conclave. Going to struggle to find that card or some other action to help shut down this board, but this board is getting a little bit too much to handle at this point. A 6 powered unit, a 9 powered unit, and a 3 powered unit coming across here. We'll see how Arc wants to block. So these 4 units looking like it's going to block the 6/5. Got to shut down that lifesteal, otherwise this game is going to be insurmountable. But unfortunately 3 units going to die to this Longhorn Sergeant or a single Combray Healer. But still the threat of this 9/9 and the 3/3, if these go unblocked, Arc of the Conclave will go down to 5, and that's pretty precarious, since I feel like Undef's board is going to be much larger by the end of this combat step. So yeah, 9 and 3 going to bring Arc of the Conclave down to 5, and unfortunately only drawing a power off the top. Going to gain a life off of this Sanctuary Priest, but this game looks to be wrapping up for Arc, as still no answer to this 9-9 and still no real answer to this 3-3 either. Undev should definitely be looking at a potential Alpha Strike here, as there's not much for him to lose. And Arc of the Conclave really going to start losing some life here. So free block here. These guys are going to bounce off of each other. A 2-2 going under the bus of this 9-9. This 3-3 going to be blocked by Combray Healer and by Sanctuary Priest. So only losing one unit to this Sand Warrior. These guys are going to get to bounce both the Minotaur and the Foothills Alpha. But Conclave down to 3. It would take a miracle at this point to come all the way back. As Arc still looking good with 2 cards in hand. So Scheme, a good start. If there ever was an answer, Scheme would be it. And Clockroach going to be the pickup off the trigger, and Annihilate going to be gotten off of Scheme. We'll see if that's good enough. Annihilate can take out that 9-9, and that will be on the way to help stabilize this board for Conclave, hopefully drawing a good unit off of Annihilate. Pilfer going to pick up a card off of Arc of the Conclave's deck. Cliffside Porter, a terrible card. One of the worst, probably the actual worst 1-drop that you can pull. And unfortunately, it's looking like this game is going to be over, as Arc of the Conclave does not have enough blockers to block everything and not take 1. So this 2-2 unblockable itself will be able to shut off this excellent streak that Arc of the Conclave was on. So unfortunately, this is going to be the end. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he may have 1 extra game in here. I will definitely find that out for y'all. But for now, this is Sam Wolf, signing off.